4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to another episode of the Ready Set Poem Podcast, your premier source for everything to do with the Vancouver Titans. I am Chris at Lightforce, joined virtually by the whole darn crew. We got Omni at Omni Strife and Sam at another Sam Chan. Gentlemen, how's it going?
With every passing week, the pain is less acute, but it's still pretty rough.
Yeah, we see there is an absence of color to your camera yet again. Yet another week.
What are you talking about? What?
I'm not sure you'll ever see color again.
That's how it looks. You know how, like, if you look at movies and from the 40s, 50s, that's how the world looked back then. So that's kind of how it is in my apartment now.
It's just you live in the 40s?
Pretty much. Yeah, I guess you could make that like mental gymnastics sort of approach.
Oh, well, we got you with no color, and we got Sam doing dinner live on stream.
I'm just chilling, relaxing. I forgot the lines to Fresh Prince now.
Up to no good?
Up to no good.
Started making trouble in your neighborhood until you got in one little fight and your mom got scared. And then she told you you're moving with your auntie and uncle in Bel Air.
Boom.
But we're not here to hear me riff off Fresh Prince. We are here to listen to the three of us talk about the Vancouver Titans' performance this past weekend. You might be tuning in live on Twitch, as we are apt to provide a live recording each and every week, or you're listening to the podcast episode as you would normally do through whichever podcast application that you so choose. This is going to be a big episode. We've got the week that was, the Vancouver Titans match against the Toronto Defiant, the Battle of Canada, Part 2. We'll recap sort of what went down. We will talk a little bit about some former Vancouver Titans that are making the news, so to speak. And then we actually have a real special guest. We were joined by Emerald Gao, who's an associate editor for the Overwatch League. She joined Sam and I to talk a little bit about her role, what it is that she does behind the scenes, and some of the articles that you've probably read and didn't realize were written about her on OverwatchLeague.com. And then we'll come back and talk a little bit about the week that was, the week that will be, some Overwatch news, some Overwatch League news, the run-of-the-mill stuff that we would normally see each and every episode. Now, I will add in a caveat to this. If you're watching the live stream, you're not going to get the interview. The only people that get that interview with Emerald, they listen to the podcast. So if you're looking for that, ReadySetPwn.com/listen. You'll find out where you can. But you know what? Without further ado, let's get ourselves into the payload.
Moving the payload. Join me.
So, Vancouver Titans take on the Toronto Defiant. Sam, you weren't here last week to provide your thoughts, but Omni and I had sort of hummed and hawed. We thought it would be an okay match, and yeah, I don't know how to describe it other than that. I mean,
it was a close sweep.
Yeah, as far as a 3-0 sweep can go, it was kind of close. Yeah. Ani, you and I joined a few others from the RSP side here with the crew from Toronto Alpha Flight. We were doing like a live video sort of watch party, which was kind of cool, even though it was significantly Toronto-centric. But like, it was interesting in the early going on Ilios that you could sense some concern, some distinct concern. Not only did the Titans sort of come out and were looking kind of like the Titans the few weeks previous, but Toronto didn't seem to have an answer, not only for the Echo-less Titans, but Numlock didn't quite seem to be fitting into the big picture. Little did we know that was simply, the warm-up round, not the warm-up map. And I can't remember who it was that asked in RSP Court how the actual match went, but I described it like this. The Vancouver Titans have looked good in spurts. The Toronto Defiant have looked good in maps. And I think that was the distinct difference. And we'll get into a little bit, but there were some distinctly weird approaches, i.e. Anubis, that I still am scratching my head about. But let's talk a little bit about what we saw. The Vancouver Titans, I think as a roster is concerned, when you look at Shred on Orisa, or even on Ilios, well, he came out on ball. He didn't do too badly. But it's, I think, more and more indicative that the support line is where some of the struggles are. And this is not to single out any individual. It's not a Rolf issue or a Karkai issue. But the support just isn't there to keep that front tank line up.
Yeah.
And when things start to go somewhat sideways, you then start to see the likes of Dalton and Shockwave. Okay, guys, hop on our shoulders and let's go. Yeah. And that's when the freelancing starts. That sort of well-oiled, hive mind that we were accustomed to with the old roster isn't there. And sure, maybe over time they'll come to build somewhat of that hive mind. But once the freelancing begins to occur, good things do not happen.
Yeah. It looks almost as if Dalton and Shockwave are kind of playing at a higher pace than the rest of the team. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's kind of where the tank line and support line especially are losing somewhat of a focus on what they need to do at every given moment. And I don't know if it's the problem with the support line not keeping up with healing, and we're definitely getting out healed. The opponents are out healing us by a lot, or maybe it's the tank lines being too aggressive and trying to keep up with Dalton's and Shockwave's approach and not peeling for the healers that are later picked up. Yeah, that Ilios map, especially at the start, was starting out pretty well. It looked like Toronto were kind of lost, and I think that Toronto is not much better than us at this point. Both teams are not looking good, and with teams that are not good, a lot of it is just momentum. So once it shifts into one direction, it's hard to kind of recuperate. And I feel like that well map was so much in our hands. I kind of feel like a broken record, but again, there was a map that we should have had. And just looking at the beginning of this map, maybe not in Anubis, that was kind of awkward approach. But like you said, I feel like Dalton and Shockwave even outplayed the DPS lineup for that Toronto had.
Oh, no doubt.
And yeah, like and the Widow picks were there, the Tracer harass was there. And the tanks are pretty kind of up and down for both the teams, pretty comparable. Sometimes Numb looked not really well, but the difference was always Kariv. When things were going a little bit too close for comfort, it was him who popped off. And there was this something that a lot of people were like kind of confused about. Why was Karkar, for example, on Zen for most of the match, and why? But that's fine. I mean, they had their time to come up with those strategies, right? And the first map went really well. But I feel like momentum is what kicked us up the bum really early in this map.
Well, the very first map, if we're jumping back to Ilios, Toronto'd. So they led. Yeah. I can't remember if it was 98 or 99 or 90, right. 90 something, right? And they dropped the bomb. So I was really surprised to see us take map 1 away. And then in the second map in we Toronto'd. So winnable. Maybe we should change it to Vancouver. It's just so I don't get all these defiant death stares, being salty in a 3-0. But like it just like we have a closing problem, and I think that problem has been consistent throughout since we've seen the start of this iteration of the Titans. Like you said, they look good in spurts, but they don't look good for the last spurt, right? And even maps that we win, we hold on for dear life. We don't take over, right? And so like that to me is a sign of just like, I'm trying to think. In hockey, you'd call it a 3-goal lead, right? In hockey, the inexperienced teams, like they're up 3 goals, but they don't play like they're up 3 goals. They don't play like they're going home with the W tonight. They're hesitant. Yeah. They're worried. They're hanging on to their stick. So it feels a lot like that when we watch the Titans with even in a lead situation. They don't feel like they've been there, right? Mechanically, they have the skills to be there. Like I truly believe this could have been a much more competitive game than what was shown on the scoreboard. But like on the other end, you have vets who have won games before, who know when to take over. And we saw that not last week, but 2 weeks ago when Kariv just decided, okay, enough's enough, took over in games 4 and 5, right? Yeah. Like up to that point, it was punch for punch, right?
Maybe it's just not being there yet. I don't know.
Yeah, and maybe that will come with time. I think like we can't like be completely just oh yeah, they're still new, like yeah, if we can say that every week and we're gonna have nothing to talk about, right? But I do think Karkar is a serious issue right now for the team. He does seem like a step behind frankly league average level, and we're going up a Kariv isn't fair. Kariv's a very, very good player, probably top tier flex support. But we needed more from him.
Well, there was that stat where Kariv had, I think, triple essentially the statistical production to Karkar.
Yeah, so Karkar actually had a little more healing per 10 minutes, but Kariv doubled his damage output. So I equivalent it to, it's like a power play the entire game, right? Like if you have another Karkar's damage output to the team.
But Karkar is also like a main support naturally, not a Zen player.
Yeah.
Well, so but that choice, like, is that because I believe Rolf was on Baptiste,
right?
That's I'm going to be presuming the better BAP is on Baptiste, and it's almost going back to the whole DPS issue where we saw Dalton and Suna playing.
That's actually very reminiscent to the issue we had with Slime and Twilight for the Zen Baptiste composition. Yeah,
but you just bring Repel in, man.
Yeah, like you said, the 3-goal thing. What can we compare it to in Overwatch? I guess being up 2 picks, and it happened multiple times. Not to mention the fact that the majority of fights when they started out, we got the first pick, and occasionally we even got their second pick. But then we fell apart. They got 1 pick and they got 2 pick, and that's it. You could see, like, you couldn't see the players, but I guess they were deflated, emotionally just by seeing them not carry out the fight until the end.
In some of those finals fights, you could see them being frantic, right? That's where you threw the ults out like randomly and stuff like that. And I think that some of that will come with time.
As far as control maps go, or control matches, the Vancouver Titans actually looked. I'm trying to find a word other than competent, because I feel like that's
competitive.
I'm sure, but competitive. Control has not been their strength. I mean, we've seen that with this roster. Control has always been a struggle. Against Toronto, they actually look competitive. We go into Blizzard World. The Vancouver Titans had a solid first point hold. Like, Toronto had to go to the limit just to get to the escort phase. And then Toronto had to fight tooth or nail through the second point. The Titans then started to fold on that third push. Toronto gets it all the way. Vancouver comes out on a phenomenal attack. They just move in, take the payload, and then they just start trucking along. And all of a sudden, it's as if they hit a wall. But that's okay. They get the point to pass the second, and then suddenly it's like the House of Cards comes tumbling it down again. It's really weird because prior to that all taking place, I was actually still confident the Titans might have the ability to pull this out. Like, they were looking good in spurts. They
came to the Diablo Castle. They came in with much more time than Toronto had. I don't know. Spice Adams was really taking me.
I was just gonna say, like, I have a
focus.
What are your thoughts on Spice? Spice too spicy?
I like his energy, but it's not the time and place.
Well, it's like
I would have enjoyed him.
Vancouver playing. Let's put him in to commentate. Like, that's how.
Yeah, like I honestly, if I'm being honest, I felt it was a little bit disrespectful to the players because you're. Like, it's not a gag game, right? Like, it's not the Harlem Globetrotters going out there and we can just say whatever, right? Like, for these two teams, they are putting it on the line. It matters to them. And I think to that, we need to give the players, regardless of, they're 2 bottom tier teams or whatever, like, we need to give them that respect versus, it was equivalent to, like, me bringing my mom in to me, like, oh, what's this player do? Like, why is he flashing around so fast? Right? Like, that there's humor and there's comic relief in that, but this is a competitive game, right? It's not a scrim. If we did that in a scrim or all-star game, I'm all for it. It's fun and giggles.
Yeah, right? Imagine a full game commentated in the NBA or NHL like that.
Yeah. Like I know Snoop Dogg did the LA Kings thing for a little bit, but even Snoop Dogg knew more about hockey than Spice did Overwatch.
Right.
Well, actually, that's what I was going to reference. Is you do see that in, like, the traditional sports world where maybe between commercial breaks in hockey or an inning in baseball or commercial breaks in football, like you see someone come in and it's not commentary, it's more color, it's more conversation, and they might comment on the game. And I actually, to me, I have no issue with that. Like, if they brought in, I don't know, Matt Mercer, who has a connection to the game, and he starts talking a little bit about that, I'd enjoy that. Now, I have to concede, I don't know who Spice is. Like, I'm not the person that he's trying to connect with. And it just came across like it was the epitome of shout casting, because that's what he did. He shouted. And stuff came out. Like, it was weird. I mean, there were people on social media actually suggesting it would be a far better experience to have Alpha Flight and RSP get together than have another, Spice-isode. And that's not trying to disrespect Spice. It's just, I think.
I mean, it was really funny at some points. It was pretty entertaining, but like I was losing focus on the match itself because I was
Yeah.
trying to like figure out
Because we have a podcast to deliver. We can't do it with our ears being blown up.
Yeah.
So
for the match itself, I
Yes.
think the May pick, that's where we kind of fell apart because Zik was, I think, playing the May.
yeah,
And we
he
never
came in for Logic.
Yeah.
This was also where we started to see Surefour get that room to play. Like on Ilios, Shockwave was essentially taking, Surefour's lunch money the entire time. And even on the earlier Titans Defend, it was the same, interaction. So even on a balance of equality between the rest of the lineup, the fact that that was a one fight going in favor of Shockwave, I think gave the Vancouver Titans that edge. But when Zik, started to essentially slow the Titans down, like in the virtual, watch party we did, I commented, we're from Vancouver, we don't know how to handle the snow, because we truly didn't. I mean, that May pick, threw us into stitches. It was just completely weird.
Right.
Anubis.
Just hold on. Before we go into Anubis, we can't be a Vancouver Titans podcast if we don't talk about the shred lock bump, right, in Ilios.
Oh, okay. Well, we went full bumper with the Winston. Or no,
we have to mention that somewhere, right? Like, how fun was that?
Well, it was full bumper. He just sat there. It's like the observers got the camera on, and they're waiting. He's like doot doot doot, and it comes out. I think he only got one.
Yeah. He got unlocked.
Yeah,
but it was worth it.
Well, yeah, no doubt. I mean, it was, but that. I mean, Ilios, there was a whole lot of madness. Like the lighthouse fight was also madness. Weird.
Oh, it works every time in gold, but when you see it in Overwatch League, that's really cool.
Anubis. So Anubis is another weird one. Like, I actually felt the Vancouver Titans didn't look too bad on defense, but they struggled on attack. Like, it was as if they continued to okay, guys, the left's not working. Let's keep going left. It felt odd, and unfortunately, time was their enemy. And again, maybe by this point they're kind of boomed. I know, I tweeted out from the RSP account drawable because it was.
Yeah, drawable was our ceiling for that map.
Yeah. But yeah, once Toronto took it, and that was that. There we had a 3-0 sweep.
What did you guys think of the spawn camping though?
Oh. Okay,
I didn't mind the spawn camping, but the
five
ults they've invested.
Ults. The Vancouver Titans invested 5 ults to spawn camp. That when they once Toronto got through, and again, this is the weird thing. Why would you okay, you know what? Invest 1, have some fun. Okay, invest 2 because you're gonna go and try to flex. 5? That left them with Bob. Now Bob kind of powerful, but Toronto now has significant ult economy.
Also has a Bob. And
has a Bob as well. It just... I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that nightmare I had sort of, got it out of my mind. But it is just...
So Life Force isn't a fan. Omni was okay with it. I loved it. I
like the idea
I don't like
behind
the spawn camping's fine. But would you invest 5 ults?
I think the 5 ults is an execution error. But here's why I loved it, right? Because when what have we been kind of not complaining, but what have we been critical of the Titans thus far is that their personalities are timid. They might not have a shot caller. They're hesitant, and when you're down 2-0 and you're on defense for the first time at a point when most people try and play their position back. Basically Anubis, when you're on point B, you're holding back, right? Like that's just the way to play it, right? And clearly the coaching staff, the team had practiced some version of this just to dial the time down. And for them to execute it. So it reminded me of another play that's going to bring back some really poor memories. Is when we rolled out in the grand finals and we rolled out a Brig strat, right? We didn't commit to that Brig strat and we got boomed for it, right? In hindsight, maybe it wasn't a great strat. And in hindsight, this didn't work either. But I commend them and I love them for being gutsy enough to try it. And, to double down, like you said, 2 ults, the quintuple down with the 5 ults was probably a bit much. But you're not gonna win all the time with these kind of creative strats. but I'd like that they had enough confidence down 2 games already to still kind of pull off that kind of crap, knowing that the casters are going to flame them for it, knowing that we're going to flame them for it if it and it did ultimately failed. So like I want to see them try to do more of that, right? Okay. Because it's not always going to fail, right? And it's not always going to pass either.
I will I agree with almost everything you were saying, but if you can't execute like that, the alt that you invested there, if that's not something that you can execute flawlessly, it was the wrong decision. Like we're talking about the difference between a great team and a not so great team. There's no good there. Like I have no problem taking the aggression, the spawn campaign. I don't mind an alt or 2, but you have to respect the fact that this other team is like, if Toronto was committing alts to get out of spawn, I feel differently, right? Because you're drawing, like if they popped a Zen alt to get out of spawn, you've drawn that alt. I had no problem if you maybe invest one of yours to continue to sort of stall, but that's not what happened. Toronto simply weathered the storm. And I'm not going to lie, it kind of feels like the Defiant almost baited the Titans into doing it. Now, if that was what they did, that's some serious big brain thinking there.
Well, I mean, to be very honest, we're not a not great team. We're a bad team. We're a very bad team right now. And I don't mean that with disrespect to the players. It's reality. We're starting at the bottom. Or we are at the bottom, and I mean the plus side is only up from here, but we're not good, guys.
Yeah, our record is still like lossless, but at least against Toronto, I just hope that Toronto is better than it looks like playing us.
Well, I think I'll talk about Toronto. I think the addition of Numlock makes this team a better team. If Surefour has sort of refound that spark and can use that confidence and become that player that can come in more consistently, I think that improves Toronto. And Kareev a level onto his own, so I think Toronto's stonks are on the rise. Now compare that to the Vancouver Titans. The Vancouver Titans are looking better, but arguably we haven't quite yet seen that spark where even when we watch the play-in or the qualifier, whatever it was called.
Yeah.
I don't think I felt confident the Titans were going to win. Even when they were up, 2-1. I did not, I just didn't have that sense that this is going to happen. So until that occurs, it's still a significant work in progress.
Yeah. I mean, on Toronto's side, like, I know most people will say that Shockwave took that 1v1 with Surefour, but I was actually kind of impressed to how Surefour stuck with the game plan, right? And what I mean by that is 1 for 1, I think Shockwave took him to lunch, but I think Surefour did a lot along with Zik and Logix on the Tracer in the first map. Like, I think they did a lot to basically wreck the rest of our team. And for Surefour to kind of be mature enough not to just focus on Shockwave, I think that spoke volumes to the type of players that we want to be one day, right? Versus us, I think when we have a lead or when we're down big, like, we have the tendency to get frantic. We have the tendency to go off. I think Dalton's now starting to become infamous for that, the hard carry, so to speak, right? Yeah. But, in sticking to the game plan, even if, it makes you look bad on a 1v1 level or a personal level, I think that's maturity and experience that we need to gain eventually.
Well, and that's the thing. It'll be this season into next.
Yeah, but I came away really impressed with Shockwave just because I was, minorly concerned after the first game that he'd just be a one-trick Echo. He proved that thought away pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Ruins, just Widow, Peak, Pop. Okay, next one. There's a future there. Let's talk a little bit about this upcoming weekend. So the Vancouver Titans are going to be taking on the Dallas Fuel on Saturday, 6 p.m. Pacific. So for those of us who want to set our clocks, that could start as early as like 4:30 depending on the rest of the day goes. Is there a map to be won there? I mean, Dallas is a much better team than Toronto.
Yeah, I think so.
By how much? Like their record right now is 4-7.
No, but okay.
And Toronto.
I don't feel.
Dallas are kind of like a better version of the like a much better version of us. They have 2 really good DPS, and everybody's lagging behind by like 3 seconds.
Sure.
For some reason, especially this year with OG not OG. Sorry, with the Gamsu line and their support line again is not looking great.
Well,
I don't think we're.
now.
Yeah. Well,
I think the difference does come down to like Omni's analysis is right, but the problem is.
What do you mean?
The problem is their DPS line has, in my opinion, the MVP of the season so far. So in that sense, I like Dalton a lot, but I think the most exciting part for me this upcoming week is seeing how he stacks up, right? Like, is he getting destroyed? Is he hanging in there? Just like last week against Logic, sometimes he looked great and sometimes Logic's had him, right? So just, in stacking up with the best, we really kind of get to see like where does Dalton rank, with the top tier. But no, you're putting a smile on my face because Dallas is always competitive in matches and Dallas never closes either, despite literally having closer. So like it could be like the ultimate C9 match in this league.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it's 3-0 Dallas. I hate to be the pessimist, and
is it a close sweep?
No.
We grading the level of sweeps now. Like that's our new power rankings. Is like you have the swifter sweep, and then you have the broom sweep, and then you have like the flooding sweep.
All right, I'm gonna say 3-2, and if we lose 3-2,
dude,
I'm bringing the collar back.
If we lose 3-2, you should be buying Pizza Hut for us.
Yeah, we're gonna get that. What's that party pack? The 3-level pizza or 2 pizzas and like the brownies that come out. I don't know what the heck.
Yeah, like splurge on the brownies, man. Get that McCain stuff.
Pizza Hut has good reputation, but it always disappoints me. I don't know.
Sam?
Overrated.
I'll go right in the middle with 3-1.
Okay. Well, we're all saying it's a Dallas win. It's just the pessimist in me and the optimist in Omni and Sam, the, as always, balanced approach in between. A couple other things I wanted to talk about before we get into the interview with Emerald. Fisher. If for some reason you have not seen, Fisher had a stream where he analyzed the Vancouver Titans. And he got emotional and candid in some of his opinions, and he essentially shared. And I'm doing a disservice to the sort of paraphrasing of this, that the Vancouver Titans forced him out, that he did not want to leave, and that he was willing to learn English if it meant staying with the team, and that when they forced him out, they refused to pay him. As he was supposed to be paid based on the rules in OWL, and as he didn't choose to take the limited amount of money and sign the NDA, he can speak freely. So, again, I paraphrased. My opinion, which if you are in RSP Discord, you already know. The Vancouver Titans are a business, and the decision that they made in parting with their players, whatever those decisions may have been, provided the players with options. And I'm going to simplify it to say there was door 1 and door 2. Once the decision was made to part ways, door 1 was, here's severance. We mutually agree to go different directions. You're a free agent. Sign this. Door 2, don't do any of that and let bygones be bygones. Now, whatever that might be, who knows? I think most of the players chose door 1. I think Fisher chose door 2. Maybe Fisher tried to choose door 3. Don't know. And that door 3 would have been, I will stay, I will learn English, I will what have you. Door 2 is where they actually terminated him, right? Like that. If you think back to the actual announcement, you know, I don't think any of us missed the point that it was like, yeah, we mutually parted ways with da 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 da, and Fisher's gone. Like, Fisher had different language, and everyone thought, oh, it's because he couldn't leave on his own. Well, the Overwatch League was sort of forced to step out and say, no, we were involved in the decision. He was terminated with cause, and we're not going to comment any further because that's between player and organization. If I was representing Fisher, I would have probably advised him not to say anything at all. Because if he had a, 1, case, and 2, a desire to get back into the league, I don't see where he benefits from publicly sharing that laundry. And it doesn't forgive the team. It doesn't forgive what the result happened to be, but... And maybe it's because I'm not involved. It's just... I don't see where he wins out of this.
Well, to play Fisher's advocate, so to speak, at least the only comments he had were about himself, and he wasn't like speaking too much about, you know, his other teammates and what choices they have done. So it was completely, I think, fine for him to just speak about his
fair. He did sort
situation.
of infer that like the Titans ruined Jaehong, and he sort of put words into Jaehong's mouth as to what he says about the team, which I don't think is entirely fair. It may be true, but you should only speak for yourself. You should never try to go and speak for others.
Usually you can give one side the benefit of the doubt. In this situation, though, Vancouver Titans, Fisher, I'm not really sure who I side with. But I don't know. Like the thing that they say, the response from the Overwatch League is definitely the one we were waiting for, to just, you know, make sure that, you know, the Twitter uproar was not like really warranted, and just it's not like you can just do whatever you want and the league not intervening.
Yeah, but like you said, you know, benefit of the doubt. Like, I think this situation, both sides lose.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Exactly. That's exactly what I meant.
Honestly speaking, there's nothing else that could be said outside of some serious like crimes or hate things or you know, legal stuff that could make the Titans look worse as an org right now. So like they're already in the dumps. But you know, the biggest thing coming out for Fisher, you know, to date, until, you know, he spoke, was like, oh, Fisher's been quiet, Fisher's been good, Fisher stayed out of this, right? Like, whether he was or not, you know, speculation, right? But like that's Fisher's deal, right? Like, he always has to have the last word, right? And what does this actually knock the Titans? Like, for people who think poorly of the Titans, do they actually think worse of them now? Well, I don't think so.
Yeah, those people are already down there. Like, there's no further to go.
And then maybe. And maybe like some people who are on the fence are all like, oh yeah, the Titans, they're not so good. But they're also not thinking like, oh, Fisher's a great guy, sign him, right? So like, to me, like this is like, I guess the less emotional side of me is saying like, this is a poor math problem, right? Like, there's no win, there's no upside to him just speaking out. Add on to the fact that honestly, like, it's been a month. You know, we as a collective community have tried to move on at least a little bit, right? And you know, there's new things to try and cheer for, like Stitch and January on new teams, Huxell's on a new team. Like, we're all trying to move on, right? Whether and what's in the past, and we're not disagreeing. Like, I think I'm not disagreeing with Fisher's, you know, intent or the point he's trying to make. It's just, we've already been there, right? So why bring back old wounds? Unless he was trying to some way get himself a job again, right? But in my opinion, this is the opposite effect.
Yeah, no, and that's the point I was trying. Like, I don't.
Right. So
he just likes to stir some drama.
He just likes to stir stuff up, and that's always been Fisher's thing. Is where drama, whether it's his fault or not, drama always follows him, and he always has a word, right? So like that's frustrating for me as, like, you know, a young and talented guy who like, you know, whether it's gaming or casting, or like, he has a future in esports for sure, right? But if, you know, at 23, 24, he already has his label of, like, you know, hard to work with, right? Like, it's just like he's either getting some bad advice or he's ignoring good advice, and that's frustrating.
Yeah.
I think we can offer to teach him some English so he can play for Team RSP next time we.
And I think that was the tripping point for me, right?
Flight.
Is like he was supposed to be learning English this whole time. Like, what do you mean you'll start learning English now?
Did they just test him in English and that's why they let him go because the results of the quiz were pretty unsatisfactory?
Well, so the point that Sam raises, there is this perception that the organization did not provide an opportunity for the players to learn English. We're of the belief their opportunity was provided. Now, the team has conceded, yeah, we didn't do a good enough job learning Korean. And that, I think, is quite clear. But at this point, I think for me...
Get a Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, that ship itself has sailed. And I'm not trying to discount the fact that for a lot of people, it is still a raw wound. But I don't see where Fisher, again, the equation in math does not add up. It's akin to like, man, things got blown up. Here, I'm going to go in there with the grenade. I'm going to blow it up some more. But the problem is, you're running in there with a live grenade, and that's ultimately what he did. One final note. I like how there are esports outlets out there, and I understand RSP isn't like the center of the universe, saying like, oh, you heard from us first. They must not listen to our podcast because this has been like old news. We've been talking about this type of stuff even before the players themselves got the official see you later. So
you need to fire a marketer.
Yeah, must be me. The final thing I wanted to talk about before we dive into the interview with Emerald, this past weekend, we had our first ever RS Pugs, as I called it, but Ready, Set, Pwn Pugs pickup group. A number of us dove into Overwatch, had some good times, and we had a special guest. Who was it, Sam?
D. Baker came. He had a good time.
Yep, D. Baker.
Siren Song showed up.
Mm-hmm.
He had a good time. And then some guy named Wheats showed up.
Mm-hmm.
He had an okay time.
Yeah, that's right. The Vancouver Titans Wheats came out for RS Pugs. It was kind of funny because like he was quite low key. I mean, people were asking him questions and what have you. But oh my goodness, like was he sort of a level above some of us, namely me? It was not fun to play against him, but boy, did I enjoy playing, with him.
Yeah, so at one point, I think in the very first game, he played support and I was also on support. And then on Sunday, I found myself empathizing with Karkar a lot. That's what it felt like to me. I was like, this scene looks familiar.
Oh, yeah. No, but it was good fun. I think we had a couple of hours of gameplay. We ended up having to go and try to get more to come out. Like, there were those of you who may not have known that we were doing this, and for that I apologize. But we ended up getting a couple 6v6 matches. Had some good time. We played some weird 4v4. Apparently, I'm not a bronze DPS when I play Junkrat, or so I'm told.
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
I don't think I was all that good on Junkrat. I didn't believe I was giving you guys fits.
My God.
We had to work around you.
You had like a tire every 20 seconds. I swear to God, it was so bad.
Oh yeah, no, it was really, really good fun. And I hope that we'll be able to organize something like that again. We'll get to, again, the TRSP community out. Vancouver Titans fans, like, the idea is just, hey, let's get the community together, play some games, have some laughs, just some good times. And I think that was had by all. And maybe we can get another special guest or two, like D. Baker, or was it Night Owl was another one who joined us. So again, lots of good fun. We're going to take a quick break here before Omni taps out. Sam and I tap back in to interview Emerald Gal, the associate editor for the Overwatch League. Again, if you're watching the live stream, you're going to have to tune into the podcast. But if you're listening to the podcast, stay tuned. Back into the fray. Before we kick things off here with the fray, what a wonderful interview Emerald was. I really enjoyed hearing her perspective as to the different stories that she and the rest of the team over at Owl look to tell, their view and how they approach sort of the competitive scene. And despite, her, cutting teeth in Chicago for the Blackhawks, which pains me being a Vancouver Canucks fan, I would be more than happy to have her back. Silence. I'm going to assume you guys agree with me.
I'm nodding, but the podcasters can't see that.
No.
I'm just busy resubbing. Thought I,
Did you
tap back in
unsub
with
us?
a bang. I didn't unsub it because it's Twitch Prime. You gotta manually resub.
I thought your next sentence was going to be like, I never subbed in the first place.
Yeah. No, Omni did. So Omni had dropped a Twitch Prime sub on the RSP stream. I'm now subscribed, but Sam,
my hard-earned Twitch Prime subscription.
Do you not have Twitch Prime, Sam?
I save it for Soul Minsu.
Okay. Fine, be that way. Let's talk a little bit about the week that was here in the fray. So, kicking things off last week, we had the London Spitfire take on the Shanghai Dragons and lose badly. It was 3-0 Dragons. The New York Excelsior then 3-0'd the Seoul Dynasty, which was kind of surreal. I mean, New York's good, but I would have expected a better fight out of the Dynasty. Paris Eternal and the Boston Uprising, of all teams, came to a 3-2 final for the Eternal. Florida Mayhem 3-1 the Dallas Fuel, and the Atlanta Reign lost a 1-3 to the LA Gladiators. Philadelphia Fusion kicked off Sunday by beating the Outlaws 3-0. The Vancouver Titans, as we already know, lost to the Toronto Defiant 3-0. And the LA Valiant made quick work of the Washington Justice 3-0. So Sunday's matches went like speed. The matches that we had suggested everyone watch, so both Omni and I had said watch the Excelsior Dynasty match, and I apologize for one point, that being at a 3-0 score, but I'm not going to apologize for what we saw from Haxall.
Yeah.
He's pretty good at Overwatch.
I've heard rumors. I mean, I can't imagine.
He's almost just as good at Valorant too. Before he deleted the game.
Yeah. The other match that Omni and I said to watch was the Valiant Justice match, and yeah, sorry. You got tokens if you logged in correctly on the OWL website.
That's true. My browser was enjoying that game while I was away.
Oh, the difficult thing with the hero pools as they are is it, and I think I'm now getting more accustomed to it as a podcaster. It's problematic when we're trying to make predictions, but we really don't understand how that hero pool will impact a particular team outside of the Vancouver Titans. The good thing is that the hero pools themselves aren't changing, because in the new world, there's 2 weeks of a hero pool, and the same heroes are banned. So Diva, Echo, Sombra, and Brig are out of the picture. Before we talk about this week, though, was there anything else about last week we wanted to reminisce?
I really just wanted to comment that what you said about Seoul, expecting them to put up a fight, that's kind of like a common issue for them right now. So I wasn't expecting.
Salt in the wound.
But
Soul's always there when it counts for some odd reason that we can't predict.
Sparkle made his debut. That was the other.
Oh, that's right.
Right, and Sparkle looked good. So I shouldn't forget about Sparkle. He made his debut. But going into this,
have you ever watched one of his streams, or like how he behaves on stream?
No.
So you remember how XQC shouts and rages? Mm-hmm. Amplify that, but like 10.
Oh, sweet. Is he gonna like flip his monitor and stuff? Like,
oh my god, he just shouts a lot.
Oh, okay.
Really, really loud.
He's on my fantasy team, I think.
He's an.
Oh man, we still have that fantasy league with RSP. I'd forgotten.
I might have dropped him.
The difficulty with the fantasy league was obviously the Vancouver Titans stopped playing, and then teams just stopped playing for a while. So I forgot about it. So sorry. Next year. Kicking things off this weekend, however, on Saturday at 1 a.m. Pacific, Seoul Dynasty are taking on the Guangzhou Charge. At 3 a.m., it's the London Spitfire takes in the Chengdu Hunters. 5 a.m., it's the Hangzhou Spark and the New York Excelsior. We got to then go to noon, where the San Francisco Shock take on the Paris Eternal. At 2 p.m., it's the Atlanta Reign versus the Toronto Defiant. 4 p.m., it's the LA Gladiators versus the Houston Outlaws. And at 6 p.m., The end of the day is the Dallas Fuel and our Vancouver Titans. On Sunday at 1 a.m. Pacific, it's the Guangzhou Charge versus the Hangzhou Spark. At 3 a.m., it's the Chengdu Hunters and the Shanghai Dragons. And at 5 a.m., it's the New York Excelsior and the London Spitfire. At noon, Boston Uprising take on the Philadelphia Fusion. 2 p.m., it's the Valiant versus the Florida Mayhem. And at 4 p.m., it is where the Washington Justice lose to the San Francisco Shock.
Oh, my God.
So, going through the matches that we recommend that you watch, this before we click the record button here, we struggled figuring out, like, okay, is there 2? Now, looking at this, I originally saw that you had picked 1. You had picked the Shock Eternal match, which I want to ask why. I'm not doubting the pick. It's just I'm not sure what you see that I didn't. I went and picked the no matches on Saturday. And I only picked the Hangzhou Spark and Guangzhou Charge on Sunday. Sam, you went and picked did you actually pick the Rain Defiant match? You did too.
I sure did.
Okay, we're going to learn more about that in Omni. You did pick the Florida Mayhem LA Valiant match.
Turntables have. So, yeah, like for San Francisco versus Paris, I just want to see Sparkle again and see how he measures up against San Francisco Shocks. Amazing DPS lineup. To see my boy Sinatra pop off as well, of course. But no, seriously, yeah, I think that's the only match that's kind of enticing. I really pushed myself hard to pick a game on Sunday. It's my birthday too, so I don't think I'm gonna.
Happy birthday, Omni!
Thank you.
Happy birthday! Hope you get an upset.
Well, it's the day before birthday, so my birthday is on the 21st. We don't play on the 21st. Maybe.
Hope you're enjoying some Pizza Hut on Sunday then.
Hopefully.
Vancouver Titans will win. You'll party all Saturday night into your birthday Sunday. How about that?
And miss the matches.
Oh, that's a good. That's a good wish. Yeah.
The Saturday match that you picked there, Sam. Are you a Toronto Defiant fan now? Is there something coming out?
Not
breaking
at all.
News?
Not at all. Well, there's a couple of things. I think Defiant fans have gotten a little bit more confident that since they beat us twice, they're now a good or whatever team. So I want to kind of see that more for myself if they're actually good. From my eyes, I don't think so. I think it was a battle of bad teams, but you know, things can change. But I think there's something else there is and this goes back into RSP lore, is when we interviewed Adam, the owner of the Defiant, one of the things that he talked about was that they always lose to Atlanta in scrims, and they hate losing to Atlanta. So, like, I kind of want to see, you know, guns to the wall or butts to the wall. I don't know what the saying is. I'm just a podcaster.
Butts to the chairs?
Butts to the chairs. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to show up, or are they going to get smacked around just like in scrims? Because apparently to Adam, the Defiant only really have two rivals. One is the Atlanta Reign, and the other is the Golden Gophers of lore. And you're gonna have to dig deep into the lore for that reference. But like, I think that's interesting. But surprisingly, I also really don't like the Atlanta Reign. I find that they talk way too much for a team that has never won anything. So
plus the record this year.
So either way, I feel like I'm gonna come away getting satisfied, because if Toronto wins, that means Atlanta lost. But if Atlanta wins, then I just get to continue making fun of the Defiant. So
there you go.
So in my world of bitterness, that is the match to watch.
So, okay, I was going to pick the Toronto Defiant match, but not for any of those reasons. I was going to pick it because, again, soft spot for Toronto. And but I've been told there is this Light Force curse, and so I presumed I was doing the Toronto Defiant a solid by not picking them as a match to watch this weekend. So maybe I'm actually a bigger Toronto Defiant fan than we are willing to admit on this podcast, because I'm now going out of my way to break the curse for them.
But I think of the three of us, you'd actually watch the match.
Yeah, I would. I totally would.
Yeah.
On Sunday, the reason I picked the Spark and Charge match is it just felt to me to be a more even fight. When I was looking at sort of the day, I was like, I don't see a compelling match. Maybe London, New York, but I think New York's the stronger team. Dragons are going to have their way with the Hunters. I can't imagine the Hunters are going to slow the Dragons down. Fusion are going to roll the Uprising. I guess Mayhem Valiant should be close, but Mayhem have looked better. And then Shock and Justice, obviously, I already let my feelings be known. So Omni, you're right. You picked the Mayhem Valiant match. Is it just the belief that this is a lot closer than maybe the records would allow?
I think so, yeah.
But like the Mayhem have been looking real good. Like they seem to have turned a corner. And I not to suggest the Valiant haven't been looking good too, but I think the Mayhem are the better team.
I think they weren't. I don't know. They weren't playing like tough opponents yet. I mean, they did beat the Dallas Fuel, but Dallas,
they can't close.
They're just Dallas.
Yeah.
Forever were and forever will be the Dallas Fuel. What can you do when you're the Fuel?
Yeah, how do you solve a problem like Dallas Fuel?
Hold up. I think that the Uprising will beat Fusion. There's my upset of the week.
Okay, what are you on? Like, what did you have for dinner?
I haven't eaten it yet.
Well, maybe that's the problem. Maybe you're delirious because your blood sugar's low or something like that right now.
Are kind of being competitive lately.
Yeah.
And they're going to beat the Fusion.
No.
I think so. I'm calling it. So I mean, you guys should get your kicks in now, because if I'm right, it's coming back hard.
Listen, they lost 3-2 to Paris, and they lost 3-2 to the Valiant. They're gonna take a map, I think. Not win. No.
Take a map is not win. You're right.
No.
So anyway, that's my upset of the week. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Yeah, if they had like Light Force on
Junk. Junk isn't meta though.
Oh well, Light Force would make
Light Force is the meta.
I'll play for the league minimum. Sign me up. All I'd want is a jersey that fits. Anyhow, it'll be an interesting week. The other thing I will point out is that there will not be a post-match review this week. I contemplated doing a late one after the Vancouver Titans match, and I had actually cleared it with the wife, unlike last weekend where I hadn't, and may have gotten myself into a little trouble. But there won't be. It's something I do want to start up again, just to get us together, chat about what we saw, and have a lighter take to the world of Overwatch as opposed to the podcast where we're all serious business. As far as what's else going on in the league, not a whole lot. The Gladiators signed Kevster today, which is, from what I can gather, and I don't follow Tier 2, so I can't speak to it, a pretty big signing. I mean, Omni or Sam, do either of you know much about Kevster?
I just know from saying that he's probably one of the best remaining DPS to never really get a shot at the Overwatch League. But the thing is, like, he fits that mold of Dalton, and then I don't know, is a hit scan specialist. He's not known to be too flex, but he's a very good pickup. So you can
do all the flex DPSs.
Yeah, not flexible anymore. But he can definitely like have a good competition against the best of them. He can like play. He won't back down. Like even like from Carpe or Fleta, he can pop off definitely. He's definitely not your average tier 2 DPS.
Does he instantly make the Gladiators a better team?
Yeah, I mean, they have Birdring, who's been playing pretty well, but I guess now with hero locks, with hero pools, I mean, you can have like a Tracer Ash sort of combo, or like 2 hit scans. Maybe the Hanzo buff will bring him back into the meta, where Hanzo's not really is not really but you can definitely see more opportunities for 2 players. So kind of like what we have on the Titans, where you see Dalton and Shockwave play. So yeah, I think.
Okay. Other news, the Sinatra MVP skin came out today. I don't know how to describe it other than being an octopus-style alien that wears a suit and army boots. Like, I mean, based on the noises you're making here, I'm going to gather you think it's a top-notch skin that you logged in and bought immediately.
Thinking that's kind of the They're waiting to get back at him for quitting and going off to Valorant. It's not great. I don't like it. It's they had a good idea going in, but somehow the different components don't mesh well together.
Well, so there was a conversation in an RSP Discord that took place, and it was like, oh, it's Men in Black, it's Out of This World Alien Zarya. I watched the video. I don't know if you watched like the release video where they were describing it. The suit is an ode to Frank Sinatra. Like, and that again, like, yeah. I mean, maybe Men in Black too, but like, I think they almost overthought the skin. Like, let's look at the Jonak one. The Jonak one made a lot of sense. I will admit, it's like I rank the Winston Spitfire skin as my favorite so far, but I'm not buying it. This isn't a must-have skin in my mind. Like the Alien Zarya is just,
yeah.
Do we know if it's 200 tokens again, like the Jonak?
I didn't look. I didn't log. When I logged in, it's not like it's like, oh, how much is this? I'm not going to buy it. Yeah, 200 according to D Baker in chat. So
yeah, like
Valorant pricing.
Yeah, no kidding. I don't know. I think of the three of us, I probably like the most. I dig the Sinatra, the Frank Sinatra thing. I like that they tried to merge two concepts. I'm kind of over the whole alien thing, maybe because I mean, Jonak was octopus, but like, you know, it's same vibes to me. So that part I wasn't like a huge fan of, but you know, apparently there's this whole Sinatra or alien branding thing that you know, I don't care. I don't follow Sinatra, so yeah. What, you know, I'll take your word for it, right? Yeah. But like I don't think like many people were gonna buy it outside of diehard Sinatra fans anyway. So it's not a big deal.
It's weird because like it's kind of a thing that they always on stream, like there's a meme that he like kind of looks like an alien. And he comes from a planet, which is something that I referred to once in a Facebook group like a long time ago, and I got banned out of it for like, oh, you can't call the person like that. Well, I guess you can now that it's an official skin.
So maybe you designed the skin, and now you're just trying to take public opinion.
Oh no,
but like I don't know, like I think if you guys watch the reveal video, like Sinatra's reveal face, in my mind, if I'm reading his face like as like a literal thing, it says, "Wow, a cool skin I'm never ever gonna use because I'm not playing this again."
Yeah.
One note about the reveal video: Sinatra, clean your room.
Dude, he's playing for a game that has no competitive scene. He's paycheck to paycheck, man.
I even told my wife this, like, oh my god, this kid needs to clean his room. She's like, you're not his dad. I'm like, I should be.
What you don't know is that this is his room after cleaning.
Oh, well. Learn how to clean it better. What else been going on in the game? So the skin came out with a patch that was released today. That patch also included a new feature, the priority requeue for collapsed games. So essentially when you're playing competitive and you get a lever, if you had waited so long for that to take place, you're now sort of elevated in the next queue you were to join to try to get into game sooner than someone who simply, like me, decided they wanted to go and dive into competitive for some silly reason. The competitive open queue season 2 has finally begun. It's an arcade. But there were some adjustments to heroes. So Echo has had a slight nerf. Her beam of death is now less range. It went down from like 20 to 16 meters. I played her in Mr. Heroes before we click record here, and it's a noticeable difference. Like, I don't feel I'm as confident trying to use it unless I know I'm going to use it because I can't get away. I'm in too close. Genji saw a buff. So Genji's primary damage has increased from 28 to 30. His secondary fire spread has dropped from 12 to 9. And the deflect has actually been increased from 1.5 to 2 seconds. And you can cancel it if you want to get out of dodge because you mistakenly baited someone and they baited you instead.
Crazy buff for Genji.
I find Genji in the right hands is already a problem. And now those people have been like juiced up.
Yeah. How quick is this going live in Overwatch League? Is it for this upcoming? Probably not. I guess next weekend.
Well, okay, I don't know how they're approaching patches this season. Like last year, the patch would roll out after a stage, but
It's quicker, but I'm not sure how quick.
Hanzo. So I mistakenly thought this was a nerf. It's actually a buff, as you had pointed out, Ani. His damage has increased for Storm from 60 to 70. And again, I find it's not scatter, but Storm in the right hands melts. Oh, scatter, man. I was an epic Hanzo with scatter. You should have seen all the kills I got. I aim at your feet, you're dead. I didn't need to click a small little
Omni
hitbox.
just made a Valorant reference.
Yeah, lost on me. Don't play the damn game.
I can't believe he did that. He's walking away.
Yeah. Orisa, neither a buff nor a nerf, but her halt has increased sound effects volume.
Orisa is now louder.
We notice Orisa now.
Yeah, she's so small and hard.
I read that a few times. I'm like I didn't know. Like what is that? Is that a bug fix? Like, could you not hear her before? Like, I just run around the map going, Golden.
It was
Golden.
important that the Omnix voices are heard, okay? So now they are heard.
Yeah, the Omnix in our stream are mean. And there are lots of other bug fixes, arcade adjustments, workshop stuff, all sorts of things. You can read the patch notes if you're interested, but that was the high-level nitty-gritty. But here we are, running up to the end of another pretty epic episode. We started off talking about the Titans. We talked a little bit about the RSP Pugs, where we had Weeds, assistant coach for the Vancouver Titans, join us for some good times. It was actually, I think it was D-Beck that said in our live stream chat, a real nice gesture to see someone from the team get involved. Because, that's something we have been begging for. Let's be real. I've been begging, and finally the begging paid off. So thank you, Weeds, for joining us. We talked a little bit about the week that was, and in between both of those segments is the interview with Emerald Gao, which I really enjoyed, again, talking to her despite her, start with the Chicago Blackhawks, Chicago Cubs. But I think we need to look at trying to get more guests on. We have a variety of different voices we're trying to get involved with. If there's someone that you want for us to try to reach out to and make that connection, please let us know in RSP Discord. You can get into our Discord if you're not already there. It's discord.io/ReadySetPwn. You can tweet us at ReadySetPwn as well, or, drop us a text message at the phone number I didn't write down because Sam makes fun of me every week I share it. What? I put my heart.
You gotta give me stuff to make fun of. Like, otherwise, I'm just eating here. Like if you lose the jokes, I already don't have the Overwatch ability to play. Then I'm literally just eating on this podcast. That's my only role left.
That's the value you bring.
Yeah.
Eating and ASMR.
Yeah.
But what final words of wisdom do you guys have for all of our listeners?
At the time of recording, it is Fresh Veggies Day. So eat your veggies, boys and girls.
Veggies are gross.
They're good for you.
I didn't know it was Fresh Veggies Day, and I didn't realize that every other day is where veggies are not fresh, because that has me asking some seriously tough questions moving forward.
Unfresh veggies get the rest of the year. Today, though, it's the special one occasion for fresh veggies.
Okay, interesting. Sam, I don't know how you can beat that.
Easily, because veggies are gross. And I'm literally just picking apart the cucumbers in my bowl right now so I can secretly feed it to my dog later.
I thought you were eating like cereal or something like that.
Yeah, cereal with cucumbers.
Okay, here, serious question, because we're really off the rails right now. Do you eat your cereal with water or milk?
Water? What?
What?
Exactly, right? That was my reaction. It's milk, but this question got asked on Twitter, and there is a significant number of people who say they drink, they eat their cereal with water.
No, man.
like the choice between water and nothing, I would choose nothing.
Yeah,
because I've eaten my fair share of dry cereal, especially like in those little like kids containers. Like that's a snack basically, right? And kids cereal is basically candy anyway. But I've heard this water thing too. I can't remember who does it. I think it's a celebrity or an athlete or something. But yeah, no, not for me.
It's not even something that I'm willing to try. Not at
I
all.
won't even eat cereal if it has milk first.
Like milk and then cereal?
Yeah.
That's akin to putting the toilet paper on wrong.
Yeah, like I mean, I guess that makes me picky, but you know.
No, it's cereal then milk. It is actually, I think, a law. Like, you could probably get put into jail if you do it the other way around.
Yeah, and I think D. Baker is saying there's some people who add water to the milk to make it last longer. But, you know,
longer. What happens to the milk? Does it spit out?
I don't know, but for those people, let me introduce you to skim milk.
That's what we have in our house. Baby Force, she gets homogenized. The wife and I skim. So bounce both
trade.
worlds, 2% if anyone wants it. This episode has completely gone sideways, pear-shaped, off the rails, and that's why you continue to tune in to each and every episode, each and every week, which I hope you do. If you enjoyed what you were listening to, click that subscribe button. If you like these Twitch streams, drop us a follow so that we can let you know that we have gone live. If you have it in you to support the podcast where you can, again, we are now affiliated on Twitch, so you can drop those Twitch Prime subs, those regular Twitch subs. You can drop bits. Like, you can actually drop 1 bit. I did not, like, some streamers set, like, the limit, like, 500 minimum. Give me your pennies. It's not like you have any use for them in Canada anyway, so again, bits are available. And as far as supporting the podcast beyond that, we're also on Patreon. That's patreon.com/ReadySetPwn. But on behalf of Sam at Another Sam Chan, Omni at OmniStrife, myself, Chris at Lightforce, I'm going to sign off this episode with those magical 2 words, catchphrase.